All right, here we are, Facebook Live once again. Today is I Got My Miracle segment. So I'm just going to give a few seconds to see some people show up. Today I'm filling in for Gerry Powell. Looks like Marbella Mandaka and Gerry Powell. Hey, Gerry Powell, how you doing? So I'm filling in today. Hopefully you knew that. Dr. Jeff called me at the last moment and said he's got many intakes to do. 9 people, 10 people. We're just going to wait a few seconds for a number of people to show up, and then we'll get started with the segment. Let me say hi to a few people. Marbella says hi, hi. Gerry says hi, hi, Gerry. How many people do you usually wait for before you get started? Type that in for me. Elite, is that your name? Hi, welcome. 35 and counting. Some hearts across the thing, good. For those of you who are wondering why my face is here, Gerry Powell, he's in Los Angeles this week, holding down the fort in our Malibu office. So I needed to fill in as a substitute. This is good, cool, Gerry. Claudia, hello. Hey, George. Hey, Christian. See you guys tomorrow. Excellent, George. We're waiting for you. Megan, see you May 6th. Beautiful. We'll be waiting for you. Springfield, Missouri. Sheila, Daniel Hansen. Excellent, excellent. Good. We got a good number of people. 87 and counting. 91. All right. I'll tell you what. Once we get to 100. I will just start off and go good. Michelle Lee, hi there. Paul DeBrugen, he was here a few months back. Welcome. And Tina, everybody, 96 and count, 98. We're almost at 100. All right, 103. So here we go. So welcome everybody to the Rythmia Live segment, I Got My Miracle. This is a segment where usually Gerry Powell is sitting in this seat, but I'm here filling in for him today as he holds down the fort in our Malibu office. He's coming back Monday to join us back here at Rythmia. But this is the segment where we take a real live person, a person who went through the program here this past week at Rythmia, and talk to him a little bit about his experience and the experience of going through the program and getting the miracles that we promise that are available to you. And in fact, at this stage of the game, about 96.4% of people report that they get exactly what they came for here. So before we begin, I do want to give a shout out to Gerry's book, Shit the Moon Said. So we're talking about this because we're running a little contest through April 1st. What you want to do is get yourself a copy of this book, take a photo of you with this book, something like this, and put a little review or a comment down below and post that on social media. Post it either on Facebook or Instagram with the hashtag Shit the Moon Said, and that shit with an I, not a asterisk, okay? So that hashtag is how we'll find you, and what the prize of this contest is a free trip to Rythmia, a free trip, all expenses paid. You have to take the airfare to get here, but we'll give you your shuttle, your plant medicine fee, your room, all free. And already we've had a number of winners. We pick one winner each week. So we've got about 3 weeks left. There's 3 more chances to win that free that free trip to Rythmia. So get Shit the Moon Said, start reading it, and you'll be good. All right, so today we got our lucky contestant. What would we call him? The guy who got his miracle. Goes by the name Jedi, but help me welcome Jamal. Forgot your last name already. Jamal Kennard. Hey, aloha. And so when we were talking just before, before we started here, you had said you've been reading Shit the Moon Said, and there was something, some special part that had really touched you.
Well, at the intro of one of the chapters, Gerry had mentioned that evolution is a continuous process. And we've come so far just standing upright and our physical awareness of our bodies and then how we look, being able to shape that. But the consciousness is just as important a key component. And for me, that's where this medicine has really played an integral part in me having the ability to go inside and look at the areas that aren't working, to dissolve those stories that may have been causing hurt or pain, and then coming out rebooted, rejuvenated, and remixed, so to speak.
Right on. So that's what he describes here in the book, and that really has been your experience here this week.
Most definitely. You know, I came in looking at where areas in my childhood and in my past kept me from being trusting and open. And initially, because I've done plant medicine for many years and other times, and it always went back to this story of when I was 19 and I had a former ex-girlfriend and I was about to get proposed to her, and then she broke my heart. And she told me, she didn't want to be with me anymore. And I quit my job and moved to New York, and all these different things happened. And I saw that lack of trust show up in relationships. But with the medicine here, particularly Tuesday night with Uncle Brad, and then again Wednesday night with the beautiful ceremony held by the ladies, I was able to go to this particular situation where I was about 9 years old, sitting on the porch waiting for my father to come and pick me up. It was his weekend. And I heard my mother say, I knew he wasn't going to come. She said this to my stepfather. And I was out in the hammock when this happened. And just as that happened, there was a shooting star that went by. And I started tearing up because I had completely forgot that. And mind you, I have a really great relationship with my father now. But that was an entire aspect of my childhood that I had kind of blocked out. And it was something that happened numerous times.
So this was like your father disappointing you, your father not being there for
Disappointed me, and I would expect him to come. He said he was coming to pick me up. I'd have my little suitcase packed up, and I had completely forgotten the times when I would sit there on that porch waiting for him to come for hours. And then, he'd call the next day or, later on that evening and say, oh, I'm not going to be able to make it. Well, of course, it broke my heart. And so this developing a lack of trust in what people that I love and that are supposed to love me, like taking their word and really having weight behind it, the medicine was able to take me to that time. Forgive my father for that, because I had a very long conversation with him on the medicine. And then I was able to have a conversation with my little 9-year-old self and bring him up to speed to who I am today and go through all the experiences where people didn't let me down.
Now let me interrupt you there, because this is valuable, because the medicine does this a lot. It heals us by bringing up memories of past experiences that weren't necessarily the best things in their lives. Traumas, things where, as you said, numerous experiences where you were let down, your trust in your father or authority figures was not followed through, and therefore you develop this distrust almost of these things, and yet and that became an MO for you, how you operate in life. No?
Well, oftentimes what I was realizing was that in my relationships, with women, especially, I would be the first one to either bail on a relationship or even do something as stupid and unconscious as go out and break the trust in a relationship when I felt that the trust was about, anytime I would feel that familiar feeling like someone was making me a promise. And that's something that I vowed to not do in the current relationship that I'm in.
Now let me get this, because this is super huge, is that because you had gotten, that trust had been broken to you so many times, that you developed this thing that essentially before that happened to you again,
I'd make first strike. I'd make the first move.
And that not only was with your relationship with your father, but other significant relationships suffered as a result.
Well, definitely. I mean, the relationship with my ex-wife, we have 2 kids and 13 years, and there was heartbreak that I brought to her, and there was a level of unfaithfulness that I acted out in as a result of feeling those similar feelings that were brought up, and I would counteract that by going on the offensive, so to speak. And it was so profound that I actually called her the following day, and we're now in dialogue to get her here to Rythmia, because she's now in a beautiful relationship, and I'm in a relationship, but being able to also speak to her and to repair some of the damage that I did while we were together. And I told her, I said, when I come back, I'm apologizing to you personally, face to face. That's what grandmother instructed me to do. So
now hold on, let me see. Because there's some comments here I want to read. Marbella is saying, "Thank you, love Rythmia. One of my miracles is loving that you work there, even if I miss you." Okay, so she knows me, so she's giving me. Second one, though, she experienced watching from the universal consciousness, the painful life experiences, and forgiving herself and taking responsibility for her feelings. No one else to forgive but herself. Healing, healed, and ready to go deeper. So that sounds like she's reflecting what you're saying right here. Now here at Rythmia, we search for bringing about some very specific miracles, and you've already kind of alluded to them. But what we're really known for is helping people to merge with their soul and to heal their heart. And can you say anything about what you experienced in that context? How you felt those miracles come about?
Well, I felt that there was just a level of angst and over concern about the future that I've always kind of awoken with in life, and I feel like that dissolved. I honestly feel, Christian, like I've been waking up over the past week with each journey, the 4 journeys that we did. I could see that my optimism was more genuine, and it was a connection to the now, to this moment, rather than stressing or being concerned at how I was going to manifest and create a life where I could be artistic, but at the same time take care of myself and take care of my family. And I'm telling you, my heart right now, just the breath work that we did, the space that all of the practitioners held. As I said, I've been in other places where I've done medicine, and the cleanliness, the space, the ability to actually leave the temple and go out and sit in a hammock and look underneath the stars. All of the other ceremonies that I did, you had to sit right there inside the ceremony and sit up, right? And
so let's talk about that a second. So before we started talking, we were checking in. You've done plant medicine before,
yes,
many times. How many times?
So this made it my 36th time with the 4 times that I did it here.
36 times, 36, yeah. And you're still here on this planet.
It's something that I've turned to. I turned to when I was getting my divorce. I turned to when I had another loss that I had to really overcome. And now I feel like the medicine that is offered here, coupled with the diet that is given, coupled with the beautiful grounds here, coupled with the amazing facilitators and the variety of medicine that I have been offered here. I was offered Brazilian medicine. I was offered Peruvian medicine. I was offered medicine that was crafted and grown and nurtured right here. And then, of course, the finale, which was the Colombian medicine, which is, it cleaned my clock. It really cleaned my clock. Just to have have those 4 different types of medicine and the 4 different ceremonies was phenomenal. It was almost like I become a ayahuasca aficionado, you know, like different type of wines, but this goes so much deeper.
Right.
The different types of medicine and the way that it was packaged and presented.
So that's well put, because as an aficionado, and obviously after 36 times, you are a connoisseur of sorts. You know what's what with the medicine, and so you mentioned the variety. That I found that one of the unique factors of being here at Rythmia, that indeed it's not the same medicine and the same shaman going night after night, but you actually get a different energy with the different shamans. You get those different medicines that you just mentioned: Brazilian, the Peruvian, the Colombian, and our home brew, so to speak. Having done it in various different locations as well, what are some of the things you feel like, is unique to Rythmia, or why would you recommend Rythmia, and would you recommend Rythmia above other?
Well, first and foremost, this is going to be, at the very least, an annual pilgrimage for me.
Nice.
The 55 beautiful star beings that I got the chance to do medicine with, we've all bonded in such a way where the far majority of us are committed to looking to be able to come back together as a group and go deeper, because there's something said for doing it in a group. I've done it one-on-one with a shaman, but what is offered here is an opportunity for a group of human beings to completely fall apart, to, I hate to say it, lose your shit, and to exercise the demons and to be able to have a safe space to put yourself back together, minus those pieces which aren't working for you. The grounds, I have to say, I mean, we're looking at 4.5 star, maybe even 5-star facilities. Then you have this 3 square meals a day, coupled with the colonic hydro cleanse, coupled with 3 juices a day. On top of that, massage, then breathwork classes, and yoga, and a dance class, and then Miranda's beautiful workshop that she did in bringing us mantras. Like, there's so much that Rythmia puts inside of your tool bag to support self-maintenance and self-growth, that I have to say, until they start offering medicine on the moon, on another planet, this is my home. I found my home, I found my tribe, and I strongly recommend Rythmia to anyone that wants to go in and do the work in a safe environment with a supportive group of people.
So it sounds like to you the process or the healing that takes place wasn't just the medicine itself, but the entirety of the package that Rythmia has to offer.
Even the soundtrack, just the musical soundtrack. I gifted Uncle Brad a very ancient lock and a key that I got from India years ago. And I gave it to him and I said, this lock represents the medicine, but this key represents your music and your prayers and your limpia. The prayers that he did over me outside, the prayers that he did over the medicine before he gave it to me, Kat's medicine, Candace's medicine, those prayers and songs are part and parcel with how the medicine works inside of you. And it's all integral. And I strongly recommend this modality of healing and this actual place for finding the healing to anyone that wants to go deep and dissolve what's not working and activate what needs to be manifested.
So let's go through your timeline a little bit. And before we do, let me check in and let's see if anybody's saying, I want to work with you guys. All right, get on down here. That's the first step. Right, the sky, the air, the beauty, the whole atmosphere here is just beautiful. Costa Rica itself is in a blue zone. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like this healthy zone. People live to ripe old ages, and there's a lack of disease, and just because of the environment itself. So Gerry picked the right place. Catherine Miller, question for Jedi. Do you think you've passed these patterns on to your children? Did the medicine show you about them? Sorry if this is too personal. So is that something you can answer?
I've been on the this self-awareness path for quite a while. You know, my children do yoga and they go to Waldorf schools, and I'd like to think that the patterns that I have passed on to them by and large are the good patterns. I will say this, there was a vision that I had on the third night with the women. I saw my daughter's 14, but I actually saw her dressed in white, offering medicine. Like I saw her as a grown young woman offering the medicine, and it brought tears to my eyes, you know. And at one point when I was dancing, which I was dancing many times, medicine seems to do that with me. It goes straight to my feet, and I'm dancing outside, dancing in the yoga area, even in the temple area. For me, I would have to say that the greatest thing that I can do when I get back is to lead a passionate, moment-to-moment life, and to shine and radiate my light, and allow whatever patterns I may have passed on to my children of distrusting people or not being true to their word or being unfaithful in certain areas. I would just hope that they graft the new patterns in, you know. But by and large, I'd like to say Raziel and Zohar are two epic beings who I spent one of the nights just thanking the two of them for allowing me to be their father, and for allowing me to experience all that I experienced, to make the mistakes that I made, and then to learn how to reboot myself and be the best that I can be when I get back to them. So,
can't ask for any more than that.
By the way, I want to mention the mud baths.
Yeah, dude.
Oh.
And if you see me looking down here, it's because I'm trying to read comments and pay attention to the same
So almost
time.
once a day, I've been over at the mud baths, and they've got this sulfur-infused mud, this warm mud that you can put on your bodies. You lay out in the sun, and then you go between the semi-warm jacuzzi and the hot jacuzzi, and then the steam room. And just with that, and with the herbs that are given here, and the fiber that's given, and the way my stomach feels from when I got here to how it feels now, I mean, I literally feel 15 years younger. My dreams have been amazing. I tried the spray last night. I'm definitely on board with that. Like my dreams.
Let me say, what he's talking about is there's a tincture spray, which is a microdose of the ayahuasca, which we offer in an aftercare program package called Rythmia Life. And you tried that last night.
I went to Wakanda. I spoke to the ancestors. It was amazing.
Just with the tincture.
The tincture. I mean, my dreams have been amazing all week, but I've been getting a lot of deep sleep because we've been staying up quite a bit. Mm-hmm. But last night I had quite an eclectic dream. I'd have to say it was like Black Panther meets Fifth Element. It was really off the chain. It was great.
I got up my tincture dose.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, though. I definitely get vivid dreams with this tincture application, and that's it's just a number of sprays. It's a microdose. What's nice is Joseph Mercola, Dr. Joseph Mercola was here a couple weeks ago too, and he said that actually microdosing ayahuasca in the form of that tincture creates neurogenesis. Your brain neurons actually grow as a result.
I might have to loosen this hat.
You get a big head.
Headquarters.
So one of the people was asking, Amira, who actually was one of the people who won one of the contests with Ship the Mood, said she was wondering 36 times why.
Initially, it's interesting. So Gerry's wife, Brandy, who's a dear friend of mine, she and a former girlfriend and some friends put me on a plane back in 2001 to do medicine here in Costa Rica, and it was out in the jungle, and it was rough. But I had left the Jehovah's Witnesses and been a year out of the church. My entire family cut me off. My grandmother took my picture off the wall. And when September 11th happened, a very traumatic situation occurred where I had several people from my family and my former religious community call me and tell me that the end of the world was here. And when I turned on the news and saw that, I kind of lost it, you know, and I didn't want to leave my apartment for about a month and a half. And I was convinced that the end of the world was actually here. And so Brandy and Sally and Ian Golden put me on a plane, and I went to go do medicine, and it was grueling. It was rough. It was in the jungle. There were snakes, there were scorpions, there were centipedes, the way the medicine was presented was like, here it is, go over there in the corner and lay down, and God willing, you'll wake up in the morning and feel better. And while it tethered me to the reality that every time I go to sleep I die and every morning I wake up, it was kind of presented with vinegar, so to speak. And several of the other places that I've done ayahuasca, while it was really a beautiful experience, and I really loved the shaman, they were really orthodox and by the book in the way that they presented the medicine. And there were certain requirements. You had to wear a certain color, or you had to sit upright all night and sing a certain song, or you couldn't leave the medicine area, the temple area. And for me, being raised a Jehovah's Witness, for 29 years, I had so many rules and requirements that kind of kept me in a box. And I really love the way it's presented here. Like it's presented with so much honey and so much love, and so much concern. And there's just a nest that's created so that you can crack that egg and open up and give birth to yourself. And so out of all the medicine that I've done, because like I said, I've done it one-on-one with a shaman where I take a cup and walk out into the jungle, and he'd expect me to be back by the evening time. Those were all really amazing and wonderful. But the greatest way to experience God is in community. And it really feels good when community creates a safe, trusting space and gives you the auxiliary benefits of massage, of fresh squeezed juice, of organic food, of 5-star accommodations with air conditioning and hot water, in the shower room, a mud bath that you can access daily.
But let me ask you this, because I think what her question is specifically is why so many times? Why have you felt the need to do ayahuasca?
Because I've had so many plastic bags that I've had to open up and find. I've had not just Ziploc bags. I've had big, huge Glad trash bags of things.
So now he's speaking our language right here now. So just for you out here who might not know, one of the things we talk about is when you have an experience where you stuff an emotion, like Gerry often says, your father comes in and says, turn down that music, and you say, I hate you. And then he says, what'd you say? And you say, oh, I love you, Dad. You stuff that feeling, and that's like putting it in a Ziploc bag.
Or your dad says, I'm going to come pick you up.
Yeah,
and
right.
Then you sit there all day, and he doesn't show up.
And you either explode or you stuff that, seal it up in a bag and put that emotion down. And so when you have so much baggage, so to speak, I'm hearing you say that you needed that many times to release all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, being a water sign, I have a lot of water in my astrological chart. And water just takes a little bit of dirt or poison to just infest it and infiltrate it. And so I've been turning to Aya and mushrooms. I'll say mushrooms have been a very powerful medicine for me. But out of all of the medicines, I think it's very apropos that ayahuasca is called the grandmother medicine. I've done the peyote, which is the grandfather medicine, but there's something to be said for the sweetness and the love that a grandmother gives. And I have to say, it's very, very applicable to this medicine. It's truly a grandmother medicine.
That's nice, because that's very much in alignment with Gerry's. I mean, this place exists because medicine told Gerry down to fine details how to create this environment, and specifically told him to use the ayahuasca because of its sweetness. It's mother medicine, basically.
God bless the moon for talking to Gerry, and for him to have the ears to listen.
The shit the moon said, part of that, huh?
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
So, the program the program here consists of a number of things, as you've already mentioned. We have some breathwork, breathwork ceremonies, and then plant medicine ceremonies. We usually start with breathwork at the beginning of the week. We move into 4 plant ceremonies right in a row, and then breathwork at the end of the week. Were you here for the initial breathwork?
Yes, I was. Yeah. I went to the first breathwork.
So let's kind of take your trajectory real quick through you got here. The first thing you experienced, the first ceremony you experienced was the breathwork ceremony, and what happened?
That was very powerful, Christian, because what I was experiencing, just on a scientific level, the techniques that you were teaching us in the deep breath and in the holds, and then the ability to vary the breath, it merges the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. So when you are consciously, actively manipulating and controlling your breath, the body starts to relax so that when a fight or flight situation comes up, you've already trained yourself, kind of like firemen train for a fire. Well, they're cool and calm in that fire, even though there's a lot going on because they've trained so much for it. And I definitely, am on point in saying that the breath work that you taught gave me a centering that, especially the Thursday night with the Colombian medicine, where I literally was feeling the medicine going through me like vines and just wrapping me. At one point, I lay down on the ground and I had to reach up when Michael walked by and get his help to even get up. And it was the breath that had me there, letting go of any panic, letting go of any angst, and just surrendering to the medicine. Okay. And once he picked me up, I went out to the fire, and I had a beautiful limpia that was done on me, and I started doing the breath. And the more I did the breath, the more I felt this heaviness that was on top of me. I almost felt like I had a motorcycle helmet on.
All right, so we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. You jumped away up over to Thursday, but we were talking about the breath work the first night.
You taught the breath that gives you the opportunity to find that stillness when the medicine is really throttling.
So you got that lesson in the very first session.
The very first session.
And by the way, so you mentioned, I forgot to mention when we started that I teach the breathwork here. That's one of my main roles. And then we have various different people doing the shaman work. So that was what happened first night, breathwork straight out of the gates. So the next night is the night where we do the Brazilian medicine. Very sweet medicine. Scott kind of eases you in. So what happened to you that night?
Well, that night I was dancing 90% of the time. Like the minute the music came on, the medicine just went straight down my feet. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I was literally whirling like a dervish throughout the entire area. In the what do you call it, the liftoff area or
the flight deck?
The flight deck, and then out on the yoga deck, and then out in the beautiful outside space. Like I went out near the big Easter Island head, and I whirled like you couldn't believe. I felt like I was possessed by a serpent wind. I was whirling and dancing, and then the minute I would go and lay down, another song would come on. And then they played Nako Bear, like Medicine for the People, Aloha Keakua, and Great Spirit. And then I had tears sitting outside on the concrete bench singing those songs. I looked up at the sky, and I saw 9 shooting stars Monday night.
This is a place for shooting stars, and apparently for alien spacecraft. But that's another story.
We'll talk about that later. That Monday medicine was sweet.
Right on.
It was sweet.
So that was Monday. Then we go into Tuesday, where Uncle Brad serves up our house brew, which he makes himself, and it's made from local ingredients. And so how did that night affect you?
Well, just I'm all about the farmers market out where I live in Sebastopol, and eating food from sources, from soil, from water that's near to me. And that's very, very powerful and potent medicine for the body. because so often we get things that are from afar, and those are great for us. But I felt like Tuesday, what Brad offered was coming from the very ground that I was walking on barefoot earlier. It was fed by the same water that I've been drinking here at Rythmia. And that's just a special, grass-fed, organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, local medicine, coupled with Brad's powerful prayers and his Rythmia. It was just amazing. It was amazing. It just each step was deeper and deeper into this portal into myself, and Brad's definitely, I feel like the Brazilian medicine, Scott's was the dessert. It was the dessert first, and then, Brad started coming with the goodness right off the bat. That was just a beautiful entree for that.
Which, by the way, if you're a raw foodist, eating the dessert first is supposed to be better.
First. Right. I also want to mention Wednesday. Wednesday was very special.
Well, let's say it first. So Wednesday is what we call Ladies' Night. It's chock full of all our women shaman. They're the ones leading it, and there's a very special energy there. So yeah, let's hear.
So Stacy, Kat, Candice, the sister with the angelic voice.
Lucine.
Yeah. Oh, what an angelic voice. These beautiful goddess sisters presented such a beautiful ceremony. I mean, the live singing, the concern that they had in doing offering the medicine, and also in the Rythmia and the healings that they provided. In line with one of the gentlemen, Jeremy said here, is as men to be able to sit in a space where women are healing the trauma that they've experienced for thousands of years by the hands of men. Mm-hmm. To experience, I feel like so many of us here, especially in the Western world, are suffering from post-traumatic Inquisition syndrome, and the women, especially the women of European descent, were the first to catch hell by the church. And so to be in a place where women are honored like they are here at Rythmia, and to be able to experience as a man who has a daughter, a man who has two sisters, who has grandmother, great-grandmother, a mother, and aunties and dear friends who are women, to be able to experience a ceremony led by all women, and to see a group of 55 people, some of them grandmothers, aunties, sisters, wives, to be able to be there while they were healing, and to be able to heal myself for the unconsciousness that, like I said, unconscious behavior that I exuded during my marriage and in other relationships. And now to be able to go back into the current relationship that I'm in, and to be able to look Leah in the eye and say, I'm even more committed to you than I was when I got on that plane because of what I experienced.
Yeah, I have to tell you that, with, I mentioned the cat after, because obviously being here, living here, I've experienced a few of those Wednesday night ceremonies, and that theme comes up time and time again, that the masculine force recognizing the oppression that's been cast on the feminine, and really made the comment to her that it seems like this Wednesday night serves almost a deeper universal purpose in healing that very thing that we've been going through for centuries.
I mean, it dissolves so many chains and blockages and healed so many wounds, and to be able to, we're symbiotic in our relationship with other human beings. And so, there's no way I can believe that I was always a male in every single life. Mm-hmm. So, the feminine aspects in myself, the feminine aspects in you, the feminine aspects in the other men, the mitochondrial DNA that we've all gotten from our mothers and our grandmothers, I felt that healed inside of that ceremony, and it was beautiful. And I'm so grateful and thankful to those sisters for providing that.
Now, Claudia here says Rythmia, and I think you mean Rythmia, which he's saying. And so what limpia means cleaning, and so it's an energetic cleaning.
They
right?
bring the feathers and the agua de Florida and the copal. It's beautiful healing.
And I want to shout out Pamela Whaley is on watching, and she's my mother's best friend. And for her to be watching this right now, she said, "Who's that with me?" And this is Jamal Jedi here. He's been through our program this week. For anybody who's just joining in, he's here because he got his miracles Rythmia style, and that's what this whole segment is really all about. Is one, what is Rythmia style, and two, is it really real? This is meant to bring real life people, unrehearsed, here to camera and say, what was your experience here at Rythmia? And so Jamal's gone through now the first night of Breathwork, Monday night ceremony, Tuesday night ceremony, Wednesday night ladies ceremony. We come upon Thursday, and Thursday is the big celebration ceremony, the Colombian medicine, the Colombian tradition. This one starts a little later and goes all night long. Most of the other ceremonies end around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. But this one is our sort of grand finale of the ceremonies, and anything special in particular about that you felt?
Well, I found it very powerful that we had to sit in silence for close to 2 hours, a little bit more than 2 hours. And for me, that was a little challenging because the other 3 days, like I said, I was able to get up and I was able to move. And I had to sit with myself. And there were some dark pockets of maybe they were past life traumas or just ancestral traumas that were passed on to me.
Mm-hmm.
I almost felt like my ancestors had this suitcase that they kept adding to over the centuries. And they were like, okay, Jedi's going to open that up in 2018 at Rythmia. And I opened it. And there was some, what could have been frightening, but what the medicine helped me to do was see that rather than looking at things as good or evil, they actually just mirror what's inside of me. I think about this.
This is an important point we want to say, because a lot of people get concerned about the darkness. There's often periods that we call, or in the Colombian tradition, we call it the bitterness. Where it's not so fun to necessarily go through, and yet the point that you're making here, and what I want to emphasize, is it's not something that gets overlaid on us. It's not some darkness that comes in.
It's something that comes out of us.
Right.
It's something that's latent inside of us, almost like epigenetics. We have the ability to decompress or to dissolve those certain things. I just wanted to make this point that I really got that this whole idea of the jinn, you have this term in the word genetics, generation, genome, genocide, imagination, genesis, genius. These jinn live inside of us. Some say they live inside the blackness in the middle of our eyes. And we can either feed them fear and insecurity and distrust, which is something that I came here to work on. We can feed them jealousy. We can feed them racism. And there's an aspect of them that will grow and deepen in that darkness. But we can feed them love. We can feed them trust. We can feed them acceptance. We can feed them forgiveness. We can feed them just being in the present moment. And what they become is light inside of us. And that's what I really got with the Colombian medicine, because at one point I felt like there were vines growing from my heart and my organs going through my entire body and just cleaning everything out of me. And like I said, I was going to the bathroom and I literally just got on my knees, and the next thing I know, Candace came and she put a pillow under me. She gave me a blanket. I just lay there. Felt that it was up to me and my imagination where this situation was going to go.
And then I want to re-emphasize, because you said it earlier when you started at the beginning of the week, that the breath was an integral part of you making that choice, or being able to stay in
breath. Instead of those short breaths that tie us into the fear, something that you brought up as well was listening to the sound of the breath. Like, what does the breath sound like? filling the entire chest up, filling the belly up, and then releasing that and allowing that breath and the oxygen to go into every part of the body consciously, rather than the breath just being something that you're doing automatically while the brain is over here, and then you end up stifling the breath.
So that brings us really to so we end the plant ceremonies on Thursday night, but that's not the end of the ceremonies, because we still have breath ceremony on Friday night, and tonight, breath ceremony again. So you experienced it last night. Were you there last night?
I wasn't there last night. I was kidnapped and taken to the beautiful sunset, which, by the way, the beach here is beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, definitely recommend going to the beach before breathwork.
Yeah, I will be at the breathwork tonight, however. Most definitely I will be at the breathwork tonight. And I thank you for offering this modality. And it's something that is now in my medicine bag, and I'm going to be taking home with me. So
yeah, beautiful. And that's really by design too. You know, we start with the week with the breath work to do just what it did for you, give you some tools to work with during the week while you're doing the plant medicine. And at the end of the week, it's really there to help tie up any loose ends from the plant medicine, as well as start to help you focus on going home and reintegrating back into life. And most importantly, I'd say, is that it starts to remind you that all those experiences reside within you, and they're accessible, within you. You can go home and use the breathing technique and bring all of that back to life. Where I wouldn't necessarily recommend going home and doing ayahuasca with a living room shaman, every weekend.
I feel like the breath work and the spray and keeping in touch with the community and getting back here as soon as possible and keep going deeper and finding all those little plastic bags, even the little small ones, the big ones and small ones, finding them and dissolving them. And these ones, by the way, are biodegradable. So.
Good. Thanks to our cosmic bag maker. So let's see. So let me just see what Light Warriors work. Marbella is saying definitely. Shane, purging isn't the problem. There's a lot scarier stuff that can happen on the medicine. That's what some people are fearful of, and rightly so. This is not for everyone, that's for sure. Well, and I would say that, talk about that. You've experienced some scary stuff on the medicine, and
I've dissolved on the medicine.
And kind of what we're saying here is that scary stuff is really, we have a phrase here that is, what's coming is going, right? Meaning, if you're experiencing darkness, it's not that the darkness came to, add it onto you, but that it's coming out of you to leave you. So when you experience that darkness, it's basically saying you have been holding on to this darkness for however
maybe
long.
Millennia, maybe generations.
And now it's finally coming up, and in that coming up, it crosses your conscious field, so you are experiencing the quality of that darkness. But again, that's the good news. It's because it's actually leaving you. So let's see, what else? Love so much like my experience. Marbella is relating to you a lot. Tony, thank you for toxic or darkness release instead of stagnant reliving. Good. My husband was there too, and his experience was so different. He had a wonderful journey. Excellent, Patty. It's so much more than purging. It's what goes with it, what they release, and I see it's a pretty big deal who has to go through it. It's a pretty big deal going through it. But again, Gerry emphasized at the beginning of the week that this is hard work. This is some of the hardest work you'll ever do. Some of the hardest work you'll ever be thankful that you did. This is not for the faint of heart. This is not your typical Four Seasons vacation where you're going to sit on the beach and drink pina coladas and pretend that your life is beautiful. This is like work to get that darkness out so your life can be in reality beautiful from that point forward.
And so many people will go to college or go to university for 4 or 8 years, sometimes even longer, to get work skills that they will use to work for someone else or on someone else's behalf. And this is a week of your life where you are getting the skills to go inside of yourself, to actually open yourself up and look for all of those little areas, almost like you inherited this mansion and it has all these rooms that haven't been entered for sometimes lifetimes, or maybe years and years and years. Like with me, I hadn't gone inside of that room where I sat on that porch getting my heart broken by my dad who kept disappointing me. I hadn't gone there in 39 years. And so I was able to go inside of that room, use my imagination, which is the greatest tool that I would say bring to this open heart and your imagination. And by means of this medicine and by means of the beautiful facilities here and all the amenities and the shaman and the music, you can go inside of yourself and you can reboot and remix the things that aren't working. And you can dissolve the stories and the fear and the darkness that's inside of your genetics, basically, and come out with more light. And come out feeling lighter and feeling happier.
I love this. Mary says, what's tougher than getting through the birth canal and getting here? You did the hard part already. So, pretty much nothing is harder than that.
The greatest thing you'll ever do is outswim millions of versions of you into your mother. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do.
And I will say a few people are concerned about the plant medicine. And one thing, being the breath worker here, I'll announce that Rythmia will be doing 1 week out of each month starting in May, where all of the ceremonies are breathwork ceremonies. So there's a certain segment of the people that want to come here that aren't able to do the plant medicine or are still a little bit tentative in doing it, aren't sure that that's for them. And I can attest, being the breath worker, maybe you can confirm that the plant medicine or the breath ceremonies are equally as powerful and in some cases even more powerful than the plant medicine ceremonies.
Well, the breath is what you have to do every day, whether I like to think that one thing God requires of you is to breathe in and out. And if you don't do that, you're fired. So why not learn how to do that in the best possible way so that you get the optimal benefits from something that you have to do every second and every minute of the day.
Right on. So for any of you that are concerned or been told you can't do the plant medicine, we have that option starting in May, 1 week out of each month. Every ceremony, starting on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, all 7 ceremonies are breath work. So try that out if the plant medicine doesn't seem like it's for you, or you're not medically allowed to do it.
You're going to put strings on people. They're going to be flying around here like kites.
Right on. So Jedi, I think, I really appreciate you sharing and really your authenticity and, your depth of experience has been helpful here. A lot of people have related on their comments that they have similar experiences, or they're just confirming that what you said is right on within their experience. A lot of people are saying they appreciate the detail with which you explain the experience here at Rythmia, and that again is our intent, is really to try to show people from a real person's perspective what it's like to be here at Rythmia, and hopefully through that you've inspired a few extra souls to make their reservation and get here. So with that,
thank you, brother Christian.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I know we'll be seeing you back here again. All right. So to end, remember, Ship the Moon said, get it, take a picture, put it on Facebook or Instagram with a little testimonial and hashtag Ship the Moon said, and you are entered into the contest. We've got 3 more contests to pick a lucky winner to come here for free. So with that, we're going to sign off for today. This is I Got My Miracle. I'm R. Christian Minson, filling in for Gerry Powell. I think he'll be back next week doing this, unless I did such a great job. He's passing it on to me, which don't do that, Gerry. All right, well, we'll talk to you all soon.
God bless you all.